Mama used to warn me, son, the high road ain't all grace. It'll scrape you raw and leave you lost before it shows its face. But I walked it anyway, too proud to take the load. And every fall I ever took was higher than the blow. Southern railroad lines, saw the workers break their bodies while pretending they were fine. But in the taverns after midnight, every story sounded real. Men built from smoke and sorrow, drinking truth they tried to feel. 'Cause the high road bleeds, it don't promise you a thing. It'll take your breath and grind your bones and never let you cling. But it's the only road worth taking if you're chasing something true. Yeah, the high road bleeds, but it bleeds a brighter you. I fell for drink any man. She'd laugh like wildfire, burning like she knew her future plan. But I lost her to the bottle, lost myself in fighting fate. Two wounded souls combusting somewhere far beyond too late. But tonight I hear the mountain winds like drums against my chest, telling me that even broken men deserve another test. And though the high road cuts you deep, it shapes the soul inside. When the storm begins to gather, that's when real men learn to ride. Sacred scars, like road maps written by the saints or secrets held by stars. And if I reach the end still breathing, I'll be proud of what I knew, that the high road bleeds, but it bleeds you into truth. Saddle of my sins weighs heavy when I ride. Every wrong I ever carried sitting tight against my side. The desert knows my secrets, the horizon knows my name, and both of them remind me that a man must face his shame. A vulture traced my shadow like a prophet in the heat, and the sun beat down like judgment on my blistered, tired feet. But I kept on pushing forward with the truth like winter's wind. If I don't face the past now, I may never ride again. I hear whispers in the canyons, voices I've ignored, saying you can't outrun the darkness if you never seek the Lord. So I ride with the saddle of my sins on this wild frontier, through the thunder of my failures and the ghost I used to fear. I ain't holy, I ain't righteous, but I'm trying to begin a long and rugged journey with the saddle of my sin. Nightfall brought a stillness where the coyotes softly cried, and I felt a peace inside me like a slowly healing sigh. Maybe mercy finds you not in churches or in hymns, but in lonely desert midnights when the stars lean close to listen. Let the lightning split the valley, let the storms tear through the dust. I've been broken, I've been bitter, I've betrayed my better trust. But tonight I feel my courage standing taller than my fears. Gonna ride into redemption if it takes me 20 years, with the saddle of my sins. But my spirit burning bright, I'll follow every sunrise. I'll survive each haunted night, and if heaven sees me humble, maybe help will come again. Till then I ride forever with the saddle of my sin. I grew up on a hillside where the dust don't ever rest, with a father made of iron and a mother born of tenderness. He taught me how to fight the storm, she taught me how to heal, and both their voices shaped the man I still ain't managed to reveal. Took a job at 20 carrying freight through mountain towns, learned the weight of other people's dreams can pull your spirit down. But in the rumble of the engine and the night wind through my skin, I heard the call of something sacred saying, boy, you still can win. 'Cause I'm a stone cold believer in the fire of second chances, in the saints that walk beside us with their quiet hidden glances. Yeah, I'm broken but I'm fearless, and I'm stronger than I seem. A stone cold believer in the heartbeat of a dream. I love a woman once who saw the darkness in my chest. She said, you ain't cursed, you're just scared to give the best. But I ran like a coward from the love I needed most, every night since then, her name haunts me like a ghost. But tonight I feel the lightning in my hands. My boots are on the earth, my soul demands a battle with the man I used to be. And hell, if I don't fight until I'm free, I'm still a stone cold believer in the power of rising slow, in the way a wounded heart learns to trust again and grow. Yeah, the road is rough and ruthless, but the truth is always clean. I'm a stone cold believer in the long fight to redeem. I left the town before the daylight knew my name. Packed a suitcase full of letters I was too afraid to claim. The highway looked like freedom, dressed in dust and silver dawn. And every mile behind me felt like chains I'd finally thrown. The radio was static till the old songs cut the dark. Johnny whispering fire, Skinner bleeding from the heart. And suddenly I felt it like a tremor through my chest, the kind you only feel when you've been running from your best. All the nights I spent denying who I was supposed to be. Now the highway roared like judgment coming straight for me. Ashes on the highway, burning from the life I knew. Every broken promise crackling, turning into something true. I ain't begging for forgiveness, but I'm praying for a sign. Ashes on the highway, blowing back what once was mine. I stopped beside a canyon where the echoes know your sins, where the wind sounds like a woman whispering who you could have been. And I swore I saw my shadow riding fast beneath the moon, chasing down the man I lost somewhere too many years too soon. Lightning split the mesa like a warning from above. Thunder boomed like old regrets you never speak of out loud. But I stood tall, defiant, like a sinner facing trial. And the storm said, son, redemption only comes if you walk the extra mile. Ashes on the highway, but the fight feels like rebirth. I'll rebuild a stronger man from the somehow. There's gravel in my prayers tonight, rough words I couldn't smooth. I spoke 'em like a sinner does when he's got too much to prove. The chapel stood abandoned like a promise left behind, and the echo of my footsteps felt heavier than my mind. I knelt but couldn't force a tear, been dry for 20 years. The preacher's book lay open with its corners bent by fears, and in the quiet candle smoke I thought of who I've been. A man who lost his faith not once, but time and time again. There's gravel in my prayers, but they're all I've gotta give. The cracked and broken pieces of the life I tried to live. If heaven hears the humble or the ones too worn to care, then maybe even shattered souls find mercy in their prayers. Faith ain't made of diamonds, it's the dust we rise above. The courage in a wounded heart, still trying to believe in love. And if the night forgives me for the weight my spirit wears, I'll leave the chapel standing with less gravel in my prayers. So I'll whisper one more promise as the door swings in the air. I'll try again tomorrow with less gravel in my prayers. My horse was tired long before the sun began to rise. His breath was heavy like a prayer the morning never replies. We'd ridden through the heartache and the wild unspoken wars, two shadows stitched together on the trail of distant shores. He stumbled on forgiveness where the river met the sand, and I knelt beside his trembling frame I had held in my hand. I whispered, "You've carried more than any beast should ever bear." And for a moment time stood still as if the world said a prayer. Broken horse, lonesome rider, standing on the edge of day. One too tired to go on, one too stubborn to stay. But mercy comes in silence when the heart's too numb to hide. Broken horse, lonesome rider, walking slow side by side. Some journeys end not with a roar, but a quiet, gentle fall. A truth we learn in whispers when the wild forgets to call. And though he's gone to rest now in the meadow where winds glide, I feel his spirit trotting still somewhere deep inside. So I ride on with memories stitched into my skin, a lonesome rider mourning where my brother once had been. My father left a lantern on the porch when nights grew long. Said, son, this world's a battlefield. Stay humble, stay strong. And though he passed in early spring, the lantern still would glow. A fragile flame reminded me of everything he'd known. I carried it through winters when the storms froze every track. It trembled in my tired hands, but never once turned black. And every time I questioned what a broken man could be, that lantern shone like truth itself, burned faithfully for me. No, the lantern didn't die. Though the years were cold and cruel, it stayed alive through every fall, every fear, every fool. And if someday I lose my way or the darkness fills my sky, I'll trust the flame he left me. No, the lantern didn't die. There's lessons passed in silence that no preacher ever speaks, a warmth that isn't measured in the strength of someone's cheeks. And though I'm old and fraying like the sleeves I carry on, that lantern burns within me now, a father's quiet song. So let the winds come howling, let the night be deep and wide. The lantern born of love is something darkness can't divide. Dust on my jacket, wind in my teeth. Been walking since morning, no rest for my feet. A mile is a memory, each step is a sin, but the road keeps on widening, inviting me in. I met a preacher last Sunday who said, "Boy, you look lost." I told him I traded salvation for the freedom it cost. He said, "Roads don't forgive you, they just watch as you roam. But I'd rather die wandering than die close to home." Oh, the widening road, it don't narrow for me. It stretches like a promise toward the man I should be. Though the sky turns to thunder and the nights turn to cold, I'll keep walking forever down that widening road. Every stranger I pass seems a mirror of me, trying hard to outrun who they don't want to be. But the road tells the truth in the dust that it holds. You can't lose your old shadows, only learn to walk bold. So I'll shoulder my burdens till they crumble to sand on the widening road that still offers its hand. I woke before the daylight broke, my boots still cold and warm, a kettle humming on the stove, like memories I've ignored. The river murmured something low, a voice I used to know, calling out the man I was, not the one the years have stolen. I walked the banks I walked before, with hands cut by the past, where promises were carved in stone, none of them meant to last. The reeds all whispered names of ghosts I tried so hard to lose, but time, that old relentless judge, keeps dragging out the truth. And the river keeps on flowing through the nights I can't forget, past the lies I told myself and the roads I still regret. I keep hoping for redemption, though I ain't found mercy yet. Just the river, cold and honest, running through my old regrets. If a man is made of choices, then I'm carved from every wrong. But the current steals the anger, and it softens into song. And maybe that's forgiveness, or the closest that I'll get. A river teaching even old men how to live with their regrets. So I'll sit and watch the water till the daylight fades to blue, and pray the river carries off a piece of what I couldn't do. Under the old water tower, where the paint curled off in flakes, I carved my name beside hers just to see what fate would take. Summer heat was thick and restless, smelled of diesel dust and rain, and every breath we stole together felt like freedom breaking chains. But time rolls on like freight wheels, crushing innocence to rust, and we learn that dreams are fragile when they're built on wanderlust. She chased Memphis like a promise, I chased bars like broken men, and never said goodbye, but both of us knew we'd never meet again. And still that tower haunts me like a ghost that ain't moved on, a monument to everything I loved and later lost. Under the old water tower, I became the man I feared, with my heart a battered engine and my conscience never clear. but the memories still hold me like a soft, familiar power. Yeah, my past still floods my future under the old water tower. I came back in November when the sky was gunmetal gray. Found the town had lost its laughter and the mill had lost its pay. But her name was still there trembling where the rust met morning light, like a whisper carved in metal by a boy who couldn't fight. And I swear I heard our childhood echo down that dusty lane, like a fiddle crying mercy or a storm that's begging rain. Time don't heal, it teaches, and the lesson's always clear. The places that you come from still decide what you hold dear. Under the old water tower, where my youth still clings to dreams, I confess I'm just a wanderer trying to stitch back all the seams. If tomorrow offers mercy, I'll take courage as my power, but tonight my soul still lingers under the old water tower.